given me the honor to speak in this august assembly in the presence of our beloved Radha Ram Lakshman Hanuman, our gracious spiritual master. We apologize for being a little late. We lead busy lives from one program to the next, so we're a little late. And I was saying to Radharani Prabhu that well, we're a little late now, so I should probably just give a really short talk and we get right into kirtan. I was thinking, and I remembered a very pertinent short talk by one of my godbrothers, whom I'm sure many of you know, His Holiness Indradyumna Swami, a very good preacher. I often listen to his lectures, 45 minutes, 1 hour, 90 minutes, pregnant with transcendental knowledge. But I remember that one time in Mayapur, we have our annual Mayapur festival every year at Gaur Purnima, and he was asked to give the Gaur Purnima lecture. So he sat down and he read some verse, I don't remember what it was a very short purport. So then he sat there for a few moments, he paused. He said, "My class." He said, "Srila Bhaktivedanta Manor declares that within these 14 worlds, the only reality is chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare." Thank you very much. And he actually stood up and got off the Vyasasana and picked his japa up and sat down next to Prabhupada's Vyasasana. I can't imitate the great soul, so I won't do that. But I've chosen a really short verse from the Vedanta Sutra, and I'll speak briefly, and then we'll continue to have kirtan, because we have in our midst one of ISKCON's most famous kirtaniers, Radharani Prabhu. We always have this competition. Then we'll have kirtan, because, well, you know, how many of you heard Radharani Prabhu's kirtans before? So I need not say more. This is Vedanta Sutra. We don't generally get lectures from Vedanta Sutra. But many of the shlokas in Vedanta Sutra are appropriate. Sutra, as many of you know, means, well, it's like a summary of a philosophical point, or a summary even of a shloka from other parts of the Vedic scriptures. It summarizes the vast literature of the Vedas. To actually study all Vedic literature, I heard from one sadhu, one time it would take you 3 lifetimes. So we have Vedanta Sutra. The first aphorism of Vedanta Sutra, as you may know, is Atato Brahma Jignasya. Our Bhagavatam speakers, they often quote Atato Brahma Jignasya, especially to the new audience. Now that you have come to the human form of life, now is the time for self-realization. That's an initial point we make when addressing a new audience. Taking advantage of the human form of life to become self-realized, which culminates in unalloyed devotional service to God. I'll quote from the 4th canto, 4th chapter, 22nd shloka of Vedanta Sutra, and be prepared, it's very short because it's a summary. Om Anavita Shabda. Sometimes you get verses from the 5th canto, it takes you 10 minutes to recite the whole verse. Om Anavrita Shabda. You can repeat Om Anavrita Shabda. Anavrita means one who is not fenced in, or one who is freed, Shabda, by transcendental sound. Or it could be further said, by transcendental sound, we are liberated. And conversely, by mundane sounds, by material sounds, which are almost unlimited, we become conditioned. This is our situation. One time we were sitting with Srila Prabhupada. Many of my disciples have heard this, but it's pertinent to this verse. We were sitting with Srila Prabhupada at the Hyderabad farm in 1974, 1975 in South India. Prabhupada had gone down there to initiate that program, or to open the farming community outside of our Hyderabad temple. So we traveled with Srila Prabhupada by train for, I think, 2.5 days. In those days, Prabhupada didn't encourage us to take airplanes. He was very frugal. And every cent was meant to go to his BBT. So we took a train a couple of days down, and I was exhausted. It was coming close to summertime. By the time we got there, we were all tired and sick. We'd eaten samosas on the platforms. So, and Prabhupada had done a morning program, and then he'd walked out into the fields, and he sat under a banyan tree. And the local villagers came. So Prabhupada took the opportunity to speak to them and not to us, because they were new to Krishna consciousness. He was always looking for the opportunity to spread Krishna consciousness. So he began speaking in Hindi. And it was very warm, and I was tired, and Prabhupada on in Hindi, so gradually I fell asleep. Very embarrassing to fall asleep in front of the spiritual master. So as I was sleeping, I think I started to snore. Prabhupada spoke to me. Why are you sleeping when the spiritual master is speaking? And from the depths of my illusion, I woke up. And Prabhupada was staring straight at me. And he repeated that question. The disciples should not fall asleep when the spiritual master is speaking Divya Gyan, transcendental knowledge. So I think I began to shake. I said, Srila Prabhupada, I'm so sorry. And I searched for an excuse, which you shouldn't do. You should just accept the chastisement as mercy. And I said, Prabhupada, the problem is I don't speak Hindi. I speak Toda Toda. I speak little. For those who don't know, that's Toda Toda. So Prabhupada said, that is not an excuse. He said, this is Shabda Brahma. It is transcendental sound. Even though you don't speak Hindi, it will act. Stay awake, young man. So it's a fact that this transcendental sound has the effect of awakening the fallen conditioned soul. Because it's very powerful. It can't be equated with any material sound. Just understanding its origin can explain that. Just like sometimes you meet somebody and say, where are you from? Just to get an idea of what they're like, in your mind to kind of see, understand who they are. Where are you from? Oh, I'm from England. Oh, very good. Or I'm from India, or I'm from Australia. Then you kind of get an understanding of what the person could be like. You can understand something to some degree by its origin. So what is the origin of Shabda Brahma? That we get an idea from a beautiful poem or a song by Srila Narottam Das Thakur, who along with Shamananda Pandit and Srinivasacharya carried on the Sankirtan movement after the disappearance of the Panchatattva. So he wrote deep transcendental knowledge in simple ways so the common people could understand. And he said one time in one of his poems, Golok Premdan Harinam Sankirtan. Golok Premdan Harinam Sankirtan. Where has this Sankirtan movement, which means the chanting of mantras, the chanting specifically the Hare Krishna mantra, where has it come from? Has it come from somewhere within this material creation? Maybe we'll give it some credence if it comes from Svargaloka, where pious living entities dwell. We're like halfway on scale. There's the higher planets, the middle planetary systems, and the lower planetary systems. So you're situated in one of these planetary systems by dint of your past pious or impious deeds. So the most pious living entities, they take birth on heavenly planets, Svargaloka. Oh, so has it come from there? No. That's still within the material realm. The devatas are elevated, but they still maintain some material desires. They're not completely pure. So then has it come from Vaikuntha? Yes. Specifically where? Golok. The highest planet in the spiritual world, where the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his original form, as a cowherd boy, engages in 5 types of rasas, or exchanges of love, with his pure devotees. The highest param gatim, the highest goal that anyone could ever achieve, comes from there. Golok Prem Dan, Harinam Shem Kirtan. It comes from Goloka to this world to give prema. That's the origin. So just from that we can understand the nature of Shabda Brahma, a transcendental sound. Sound, just from an analytical point of view, sound has great potency. We don't think about it very much. We're very busy with our affairs in this world, and we're not so philosophical and analytical. But the sages, the guru, the shastras, they enlighten us that sound has great potency. For example, if you're listening to the radio and you're turning the dial, and you just got up in the morning, you're kind of like, okay, here comes another day. You're kind of like in a neutral mode, not so much affected by anything yet. You turn the dial, and then there's a sad song. There's so many sad songs. She left me all alone, ran away with another man, and left a big old huge debt. There's so many songs, except romantic songs on the radio, about meeting her, loving her, losing her. Most of the songs are about that, basically. And then, you're listening to that, the blues. Right? It's usually the blues. There's certain chords, like minor chords. Those are the musicians. E minor, A minor. We use these different chords. It creates a certain mood of lamentation. Misery loves company. And you're hearing it, and you're thinking, yeah, well, she left me too. Or he left me. Or this tragedy happened. This is life. Padam padam yat vipadam nate sham. There's problems at every step of life. It's just a reality that the sadhus point out to inspire us to take the spiritual life. So you hear that song, and you sit down, and you're off to work. You're taking your they're taking their coffee and their sandwich and just lamenting. But why? Because sound vibration changed the consciousness. So powerful. Then they get in the car and they turn the dial again, and then a happy song comes on. There's an upbeat song. Yeah, not so bad after all. I think it was John Lennon who said, take a sad song and make it happy. Take a sad song and make it better. Well, better means happy. Right? You're John Lennon. Take a sad song and make it better. So a different sound comes up, a different topic, and here comes the sun, here comes the sun, I say, it's all right. You'll read in Chamasundar Prabhu's new book, Chasing the Rhinos with Swami. It's a great book about the history of the Krishna conscious movement in its pioneer stages, initially in America and also here in England. How that song was actually written by George Harrison in glorification of Srila Prabhupada. George told him that. He wrote that song, Here Comes the Sun in Glory. He couldn't say it directly, but those who know him and now know him know that he was thinking like that. So, then by sound, your whole consciousness changed. So powerful sound. Then you turn the dial a little bit further and you come to the political drama here in England now with Mrs. May. Was it April? April's, that's Italy. Anyway, right? Mrs. May or Theresa May. Yeah, Theresa May. Just respectful. So then you hear, there's something going on here. I don't know because I don't read the news, but by sound, material sound. And material sound falls generally into 3 categories. Ignorance, passion, and mundane goodness. Goodness in this world is good. It's a stepping stone towards transcendence, but it also has its conditioning, and often those who are in knowledge, or even who are humanitarians, or good people, they're attached to that lifestyle. They identify with it. They sometimes they become proud of it. Become conditioned. But then there's Suddha Sattva. Beyond mundane goodness, there's Suddha, pure goodness, which we are meant to live in as Vaishnavas, as devotees of the Lord, where our full attention as servants of the Lord is given to the beautiful deities and the spiritual master, and selfless service, our original constitutional position. So that's Suddha Sattva. So sound has great potency, and even material sound. Speaking of spiritual sound, spirit is more powerful than matter. We have our bodies, and they're dense, made of dense material, earth, air, fire, water. They're made of dense materials, matter, and they're heavy, especially as you grow older and metabolism changes and you start putting on weight. They're heavy, but they're the active principle is not the body itself, but the Atma, the soul within. It's the tiny spark of spirit or soul that moves this mass of material energy in the body. Or to speak of like a hippopotamus or an elephant, they're big, but the Atma is very tiny, hard to be perceived. 1/10,000th the tip of a soul, of the tip of the hair. So spirit, analytically, is more powerful than matter. So if material sound vibration can be so powerful as to affect our consciousness day in and day out, twirling us between mode of ignorance, mode of passion, mundane goodness, and passion and ignorance, we're being actually just thrown here and there by these different modes of nature and perceptions and ideals and goals. It's all done by sound. It conditions us to think with the body, to think this is my family, this is my country, this is my society. As everyone else, this is the goal of my life, sense gratification, get ahead, be successful. It's all done by sound. Conditions us. So in the same way, even more, transcendental sound has the opposite effect. It detaches you from those false concepts and liberates you. It's like a magnet. A magnet has two potencies, doesn't it? A magnet, a big magnet, it can attract another metallic object. When I was a kid, it was one of the first things we were 5 or 6 in your 4th grade class, and then you study whatever is the beginning of these science experiments, and the magnet. Wow, Mom. But you turn the magnet around, and what happens? It repels a metallic object to the same degree. The force of attraction and the force of repulsion is equal, depending on the size of the magnet, big, middle, or small. So in the same way, material sound conditions us, and thus causes us to take birth after birth in this world, which means birth, disease, old age, and death. And spiritual sound has the opposite effect, equally, but by the mercy of the Lord, even more, to detach us from the materialistic concept of life. Jivera Swapoya, Krishnari Nitya Das, to remind us who we really are, eternal servants of the Lord. So you have to make a choice. There's two paths that you can follow in this world, Priviti Marg and Nivriti Marg. Priviti Marg means the path of attachment, and Nivriti Marg means the path of renunciation, culminating in attachment to the service of the lotus feet of the Lord. And you can analyze both. You take the high road, I'll take the low road, you'll go to heaven and I'll go to hell. That's what we learned in church one time when I was young. There's two paths. One of sense gratification, which leads to frustration, and one of liberation, which leads to happiness, and ultimate happiness, devotional service. So we have the choice. Therefore you see that those who know the science of mantra, transcendental sound, they try to hear those mantras. The child's disturbing. They try to hear those mantras as much as they can on a daily basis. That's why Srila Prabhupada, he asked us to chant 64 rounds when we first came to the West, because we were very polluted. So we needed to be purified of all these misconceptions. All these sounds we hear as we were growing up, the nursery rhymes, it's just a cute way of getting attached to this world. Then we become teenagers and we have our bands, you know. I would sound really old if I quoted the bands that I listened to when I was growing up, but whatever you, not you, but they listen to now. All the songs are about attachment and mundane separation and politics and this and that. It subtly contaminates us. And then old age, you know, we're just surrounded. The conditioning is very deep, very, very deep. So to purify us, Prabhupada brought the essence of transcendental sound, the Maha Mantra. Every mantra has a particular potency. It unleashes a certain energy or power or realization in the heart of the chanter. We're not just Hare Krishna. We know the science of mantra. There's so many mantras that help us in so many ways. But Maha Mantra means the great chant for deliverance. You don't need really to chant any other mantras because this mantra contains the benefits of all the other mantras. Plain and simple. This is the mercy of the Yuga Avatar, Lord Chaitanya, knowing our laziness in spiritual life, knowing our determination is weak, knowing we sometimes listen to those old sounds on our iPods. Yes. As I travel sometimes to different parts of the world, nowadays everybody has headphones on. Devotees also, it's very nice, listening to Guru, Gauranga. And sometimes I'll be walking around the temple or the place and my disciple will be working and I'll take that earphone and put it in my ear. You rascal. I really like the Beatles and I like you too and I like, Rihanna. Well, I don't know. Who's Rihanna? You wouldn't know, Gurudev. You're a sannyasi. How do I know? So they're listening to this because old habits die hard. But we have to understand we're drinking poison willingly. It's not our real interest. It was the interest of the old self, which at one time we realized, it's not what we wanted to be. We wanted to be the devotee that we hear about in Guru Shastra and Sadhana, or we meet in the association of Vaishnavas. So many wonderful devotees are present amongst us. So we made this conviction, yes, I want to be like them. But old habits die hard, so there are weak moments, so therefore we put the headphones on and nobody can see. It's sense gratification and secrecy, cheating. But Prabhupada understood our weaknesses and he was always encouraging us to keep trying. I met one Muslim priest, a friend of mine in Oman, and we were discussing our societies, and he said, Swami, in your movement, do sometimes people break the principles and fall down? I said, yeah. I said, in Islam? He said, yes. I said, really? He said, yes. I said, what do you do? He said, we tell them, if you fall down 8 times, pick yourself up 9 times, but never stop trying. Prabhupada made it a little more strict. He said, Krishna can forgive once or twice. He said, 3 times it means you're not being sincere. So get serious. So one of our weaknesses is this sound, the memories of the past, or the enchantment of a feel-good movie or something. This is all the ghost of the past haunting us. And we have to be disciplined. We have to be determined. We had in America some years ago, there was a campaign by the government to stop drug addiction amongst the youth because it was an epidemic. It still is an epidemic. So the government began a campaign to try to encourage the youth to give it up. So, when they said when you're approached by someone who's selling you the drugs, the motto of the campaign was, just say no. The temptation may be there, but just say no. But sometimes how do you say no? Because you're weak. Krishna gives a hint in the Gita. He says, Param drishta nivartante. If you have the higher taste, you can gradually give up the lower taste. Or as Chanakya Pandit says in Niti Shastra, you can only give up something if you get something better. And we, dear devotees, as Satchidananda Swami would say, we have the best of the best. We have the best philosophy, we have the best food, we have the best association, we have the best God, so cool and awesome and lovable. We have the best places to go on vacation, Vrindavan, Mayapur, Puri, we have the best. But the essence of the best of the best, Nama Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, is all there in the chanting of the Lord's holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So you'll see those who have realized that, or not even have realized it, but are faithful to their guru, faithful to their vows. Don't make promises you can't keep. Those who are faithful, they may not have the realization, they're still struggling, but they have something very important. I asked Tamal Krishna Goswami, my good friend, who was departed. I asked him, I said, what's the most important quality of a disciple? Because I was eventually going to do some initiation, so he was initiating. I said, so when looking at a disciple, or not judging, but considering a disciple, for example, for second initiation, I said, what is the most important quality I should look for? Cleanliness, truthfulness, mercy, virtue. So the most important quality, he said, is Guru Nishta, faith in the spiritual master. What is the shloka? One who has full faith in the spiritual master and the Vedas, the full purport of Vedic knowledge is revealed. So even if we have temptation, which we do, because we have to be honest where we're at in our spiritual lives, we can overcome those temptations by our faith in our spiritual master, our preceptor. For the disciple, the spiritual master is the best amongst the devotees. This is why you choose someone as your spiritual master, because he's the one who inspires you by his teachings and by his example to follow him. He's the best amongst the devotees. I mean, there's many wonderful devotees, but by Krishna's arrangement, we have a spiritual preceptor who takes charge of us, who's got our back, so to speak, and who inspires us in spiritual life. So, if for no other reason, because his interest is that we become pure devotees and go back to Godhead, and he's taken the time and energy to inspire us and deliver us, we must remain faithful. And therefore we chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We may not know how that chanting is working. How can we know? We're still infants in spiritual life. But irregardless, it works. Krishna says so, Guru says so, sadhus say so, Guru Shastra Sadhu, they say it, so it must work. One time, Malati, my god sister, she asked Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, please don't be offended, but is it really true that God, the supreme controller, creator, maintainer, destroyer of everything, is a little cowherd boy with yogurt in his hand, playing a flute, dancing with young girls, wrestling with boys in the sand of Rama Grady? He said, like, really? What was Prabhupada's answer? He just bowed his head and paused and looked up. He said, Malati, do you think I would cheat you? Do you think I would cheat you? No, Srila Prabhupada. So, Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu, all in glorification of the holy name, it removes all the sinful reactions that have accumulated in the heart for billions of lives, uproots the strong material desires, which cause those actions which bring results, karmic results. And eventually it brings prema. What person would not take up the process of chanting? Who in his right mind Well, they're not in their right mind because of their wrong direction. But who would not sincerely take up that process of chanting Hare Krishna? And surround themselves as much as possible by that divine mantra. We hear in our lineage, for example, the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, they were so realized in the glories of the holy name, so attached to that chanting, and having experienced the highest realization of love of God through chanting, O Govinda, feeling your separation. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain. I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. An expression of divine love. That, basically that's all they wanted to do. But they had to maintain their bodies somewhat, and they had to write and so forth. But they were chanting, very often, 22 hours a day. That in itself says something. What sound vibration can you chant for more than a mundane sound vibration? Can you chant for more than what? An hour or two? You take, not you, but if the public takes their favorite song, there's groups now coming out with new CDs or albums or whatever on a daily basis back then. Everyone has it. So you take your favorite song and you sing it for 2 hours, for 6 hours, for 8 hours, for 3 days, for 3 months, for 3 years. You'll go cuckoo. As much as you love it, it'll become your enemy. Just because it's mundane. But you take this mantra, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
The opposite is true. The total opposite is true, because spiritual life is the opposite of material life. Material life is temporary, full of ignorance and suffering. And spiritual life is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. It's as simple as just turning the channel from what is mundane to the Hare Krishna channel. The essence of which is the Maha Mantra. I've actually met sadhus in Vrindavan that do like that, still do like that. At Suryakund, there's one Baba. He chants, not in the temple that's been established, but at the end of the lake there, he has a little hut. And I heard about him, and I just wanted his sangha. Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Shastra Hoy. Lavamata Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Siddhi Hoy. By the association of a great soul, one can make great strides on the path of self-realization. So he's a Gaudiya Vaishnava. I heard he was chanting day and night, 22 hours. So I decided to go meet him, and I had to go through the brush and the forest and across the river. He came to his little hut, and there he was. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Bo, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. He just ignored me. I mean, he greeted me, but he was, Eke Kurinandana, fixed on his vow to go back home, back to Godhead by chanting the mantra. And, it got to be the evening and so forth. And I said, Baba, can I speak to you? Hare Ram! I guess that's the way he was speaking to me. Hare Ram, chant. But finally it came time for him to eat a little something. And some of the villagers, these sadhus, their only business is spiritual life. And the local people appreciate that example and feel indebted to them. So they bring food. These sadhus don't even do madhukari. Madhukari means you go to 3 or 4 houses during the day, whatever food you're given in charity, that's all you eat, madhukari. They don't even do that. They are so fixed in their vrata, the people come to them and give them something to eat. They take a little continuation. So while he was eating for 20 minutes, can I speak to you? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. No, but I want to ask him questions. I had a translator. Yes, you can ask one or two. Quickly. I said, how do you do it? He said, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I said, are there any problems in your life? He said, only one problem. Oh, I said, really, what? He said, sarp. Hindi? Sarp? Sarp means snake.
Oh,
Sarp, yeah, snake. I saw, he said, very often one big cobra is coming, king cobra. Then he's testing me. Every time he comes, he slides over me. He goes into the kitchen, he comes in, and he slinks out. He's testing my, taking shelter of Sri Krishna. So when he comes, I chant louder, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And I could see that his chanting was, he was so absorbed. Every syllable was there. 32 syllables, and he chanted them slowly. He wasn't trying to finish his rounds. This is all he did. And I thought I'd like to be like that too. But in a sense, under Prabhupada's directions, we are. Because we're either chanting the holy names, or we're serving the holy names by spreading the holy names. Either as book distributors, or Harinam, or festivals, or raising children that will one day take off from where we leave off, or businessmen who are giving donations for the publication of books or maintaining the deed. It's all Sankirtan. It's all part of Lord Chaitanya's process, infrastructure to spread the glories of the Holy Name. So I was thinking I would like to be like him, but by Prabhupada's grace we have the same opportunity. Our lives revolve around the chanting of Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
And that is Mahaprabhu's instruction. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Shangapam Vishapashadam Yagnai Sankirtan Praya Jantihi Shumeda Shaha. There are a few great souls who can live in isolation and do like that. That would be very difficult and not practical for us, so therefore Mahaprabhu was given the congregational chanting. And that's, you could say in one sense, even more potent. Perfect, more perfect, and most perfect. In the sense that we all come together and we're influenced by each other's transcendental mood. You may feel a little weak that day, but you get caught up in the enthusiastic kirtan of others, and you're also chanting from your heart. A stick may be weak, but you put it together with many sticks and it becomes strong. So this is the principle of Sankirtan, coming together as a congregation. And we must do that. As Bhaktivedanta Thakur says, whenever I hear the sound of the khol, the drum, or the tingling of the kartals, indicating the kirtan begins, he says, the joy in my heart knows no bounds. The kirtan, the chanting, the glorification of the divine couple, Radha and Krishna, lords of my life. This is my life. As servant, let me run to that kirtan and chant with the devotees. We should take every opportunity, especially for congregational chanting. It's more powerful. Prabhupada not Prabhupada, but one of my godbrothers gave an example. He said, just like if you have some grievance with the local town council, and you go out, they're having a meeting in the building, and you go out on the street, hey you guys, this is nonsense, you're not giving us permission for that, so you're stopping this, and who's going to listen to you? They just close the door and call the police and take you away. But if you organize a civil disobedience movement like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did 500 years ago, when the Qazi said, stop this Sankirtan movement, he organized thousands and thousands, you read in the Shastra, they even say millions, with torches, and they're all going, and with one voice, no, we don't accept. Yes, let us chant Hare Krishna. Hey, the Qazi started shaking. He came down, so we are relatives, so you can go on with this chanting. So in the same way, we're chanting means what? My dear Lord, my dear energy of the Lord, Srimati Radharani, please pick me up from this world of death and attach me as an atom at your lotus feet, which poetically means re-engage me in that service which I lost billions and billions of lives ago. I'm so unhappy in this world, but I feel so much mercy at your lotus feet. Please, please, mercy, mercy, mercy. So you say that, but we're neophytes, so sometimes it's not so sincere, we get distracted. We come together as one voice, and Krishna can hear very easily. because this is the Yuga Dharma. All together chanting. Hare
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
And this is the purport to this shloka from Vedanta Sutta. Om Ravita Shabda. That by transcendental sound we are liberated. We don't have to search for sounds or go through the Vedas and choose a mantra which we think is nice or looks good. Prabhupada said this process of Krishna consciousness is authorized. It's been brought by the Lord. So chanting japa, serious japa. One time, my godbrother Pusta Krishna, Prabhu, he was Prabhupada's secretary, he was chanting with Prabhupada japa. Can you imagine how nice that would have been, to chant japa with Prabhupada? And he was chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Prabhupada said, what are you doing? I'm chanting Ram. No, you're not. You're not repeating all the syllables. There are 32. You are chanting 30, or whatever, 28. What do you mean? Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So then he started saying, oh, very nice. It's a detailed instruction, but attention to detail, Prabhupada said in time, is a sign of love. When you're worshipping the deity, then you want to, you're worshipping the deity, and you want to make sure that every little flower is in the right place, that the jewel is there, and that the offering is the right amount of sugar, and the color combination is perfect, because this is love. If you love someone, you want your love is expressed in the detail of your relationship or your service. And the same is true in Krishna consciousness. We're just transferring our love from what is mundane to that which is transcendental. So attention to detail means when we're doing the most important activity, chanting, Prabhupada said in the Srimad Bhagavatam purport, the most important instruction of the spiritual master, again and again and again, 16 rounds. We want to make sure if we're going to do anything right, that's what we should do right. If we're going to do something, my father used to say, if you're going to do something, son, then do it right. Mowing the lawn and painting. If you're going to do it, then do it right. That's an absolute instruction in Krishna consciousness, because we're doing something for the pleasure of Krishna, to express our love, or for the purpose of awakening our love. So it all begins, it all proceeds, and the culmination comes from this mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Kingdom Harinam Sankirtan Yajna ki
Jai.
Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki
Jai.
Gaur Bhaktivedanta ki
Jai.
Gaur Premanande
Hare Srila Gurudeva ki Jai.
Yeah, that was a short class. Well, it wasn't 4 hours like Indradyumna Swami. So I'm going to turn the show over now. It's not a show. I'm going to share the nectar of your association by asking, because I spoke for 40 minutes and we only have about 20, 25 minutes left. So I'm going to ask Padahari Prabhu to lead us in Kirtan. And let me tell you, I've been traveling with him for almost 5 years. And every time he leads Kirtan, it's like heaven on earth. Thy will be done. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That's the Bible. But it's just magic. Remember Jamuna Devi, she used to speak about the magic, those magic moments in Krishna consciousness. So every time Badari leads Kirtan, it's 10 out of 10. And he always picks the right melody. So I master the Vaishnavas. And I've done my duty in that regard, and now I will allow my dear Godbrother to do the same, for that which he does best in leading Kirtan. Hare Krishna, thank you so much.